When I tell you it has been absolute fucking chaos around here because I had a whole episode recorded and I don't even know where it's at. I don't know what happened to it. It's gone. It's just like it's giving me like Mandela effect. Like, did I even record that episode? Because it's gone. It was fully edited, ready to go. So there was no episode this Sunday. We're starting off struggling, you guys, and I don't like that. I'm very much a perfectionist and I need things to be on time and I need to do what I say and say what I mean or whatever the phrase is, or you know what I'm trying to say. But I've been in shambles. Okay, work, like my actual 9 to 5 has been chaos. There's so much going on and there's been so much going on. On top of that, I feel like last week was just, there was something in the air, and I'm so glad that you guys validated that for me because I posted it on my Instagram. Why was everybody depressed last week? Like, I don't know what it was, and it felt like it was just me for a couple days because I was so emo. Like, talk about like that meme, eres emo? Like, I was asking myself, eres emo? Because it was giving fucking emo. Everything was making me depressed. Everything was making me sad. I was just like, the vibes were off. I didn't want to talk. Like, it just wasn't, it wasn't giving. So something was in the air. I barely feel like I'm kind of getting over it now, but I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of like still a little off. I'm really glad that you guys liked that last episode of me just airing out some of my exes, because when I tell you it was so therapeutic, like something about talking shit about these men is so good. And I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I might have to kind of go into a little bit of personal things in this episode because I'm not one to just live life and act like nothing's going on. Like, I have a lot going on personally right now. You guys know last year, me and my husband kind of went through like a separation, got back together, really tried to work things out. I went down that fertility journey because it just felt right at the time. Girl, things are not all peaches and rainbows around here. I'll get into that a little later, but yeah, a lot of change is going to be happening. It's good change though, and it feels very positive. It feels very healthy. Like, it feels really good. Whereas last year, I feel like I was in such a dark place. Like, if you guys have ever been depressed or like truly, truly depressed, like can't get out of bed, like just don't care about anything, nothing makes you happy, you don't really want to hang out with anybody, like nothing is really making you feel better, then you know what I'm talking about. I went through that last year and it was a whirlwind of emotions because I felt like I was giving up on my marriage. And so at first it felt very liberating. I'm not going to lie. It felt very like, okay, I'm going to move on and it's going to be a new chapter in my life and everybody's hyping you up and you feel really good. But then as the realization starts to set in, it's very depressing, especially because for a long time, especially if you live with a partner and then you aren't with that partner anymore, it's very lonely because you're not used to being alone. And so for me, that was hard, especially because it's a little confusing because I love to be alone. Like, I love my alone time and I love my space. But I don't know if it's like ADHD or what, that I can't concentrate on too many people at one time. So when you live with a partner, you're kind of just used to being with that one person like 24/7 all the time. So when you're by yourself, it feels like something's missing. Like, what's going on? Like, there's that one person that you don't necessarily have to put effort. Like, girl, this is their home too. Like, they're going to come here and you're going to hang out with them all the time anyway. So when I went through that last year and I was kind of living on my own, it was hard. I mean, I could call my mom, I'd call my sister, my friends, but it's different because living alone and adjusting to living alone is very difficult. And so I went through all of that last year and now kind of facing that same route, it is a little scary because I remember how I felt last year, but honestly, I feel very prepared. It feels like we both kind of gave ourselves the chance, because that's the thing too. When you get married, if it's a long-term relationship and you just both decide, you know what, this isn't working out, you're kind of done. You don't really have any ties unless you like bought things together, technical things like that. But legally, like as far as the law goes, you don't have to like sue each other for a divorce. You know, it doesn't have to get that technical. You can just split up and kind of come to your own agreements and then that's it. But when you're married, especially if you're religious too, it's like it's supposed to be like a sacred agreement that you're locked in. Like you're locked in for better or for worse, you're locked in. But also growing up in a Hispanic household and seeing people that are locked in, like no matter what, and how miserable they end up being, girl, that is not the life I'm trying to live. And that's not the life that he's trying to live either. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's sad. You know, you work on all this stuff and you're married and you put in all the work and you try your best to make it work. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. And you don't have to feel forced to do life together if it's better for you to be apart. And especially in my situation, I have so much love for this person. Like him and I are just the best of friends. Like we have a very, not Luna grunting over here being mad, but we have the best relationship as far as like a friendship goes. We love to be around each other and it's like, it's very much that, but there's just certain aspects in a partner that I feel like, you know, he's not meeting those expectations for me. And I'm sure that he has expectations that I'm not meeting for him. So it was definitely like a mutual decision. And it's very peaceful and it's very calm. I don't know if it's because we went through all of that last year and it was like very chaotic and very toxic and just not good. But this time around, it's kind of like, you know, I get it. Like, you got to do what's best for you. And I wish the best for you. And I have so much love for you. And I want to see you succeed. And I'm going to do everything that I can to do that for you. And I feel like that's reciprocated back to me. So very healthy vibes, which is kind of weird. But I hope that it stays that way because it is very fresh. And it took me a little bit to even decide if I wanted to share this online because I do have a bigger following than I did last year. So it opens it up for a lot of opinions, but really what helped me last year was opening up about it and having so many women appreciate that and share in that feeling with me. Because a lot of times when we go through things, we feel like we're alone and we feel like, especially with like moving on from a marriage, it kind of feels a little shameful and it feels a little embarrassing and it feels a little like you failed at something, like you went into something and it didn't work out and you failed. So there's a lot of shame associated with a marriage not necessarily working out. And I guess my point in sharing my story is to take that stigma away and recognize that you got to do what's best for you, girl. No one in life, whether it be a partner or a family member, like no one lives your day to day. Every single day that you wake up and go to bed, what you make of it in those 24 hours, it's your cross to bear, if that makes sense. Like you are the only one that has to live that life over and over. So even though some of your family members might be sad, and especially like my grandma, I feel like she's a little less devastated than she was a year ago, because a year ago it was really sad for her. This time she's like, I look at you and I feel like you're so sad, but it's her kind of projecting her sadness because she wants the best for me. And so I think from her perspective, she of course wants to see her granddaughter get married and stay together and have kids and just be happy forever. But it's not necessarily like that. And I think when you come to terms with the fact that not everybody's life has to look the same and that you got to do what's best for you, your family will get in line. Like if you're in a similar situation and you feel that pressure, or you feel like, I really want to make this decision, but I don't know how my family's going to take it, or I feel like they're going to look at me and think I'm stupid, or like, I told you so. Like there could be a lot of different things depending on your family dynamic as to what you're afraid of, but they're not living your day to day. They don't live your life, your 24 hours. Like no one lives that but you. In my opinion, it's one of the bravest things that you can do to choose yourself. Making these hard decisions, especially now being an adult, there are a lot of things that you're going to have to face and a lot of decisions you're going to have to make that make you uncomfortable. But if you stick to seeing the end goal and it's kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel, it's worth it. The journey there might be difficult and you might not know if it's worth it, but if you're ruminating on it day to day and you feel like it's a decision that you need to make, in my experience, it's you got to just do it. You got to put yourself first and you got to just choose you, especially because I feel like a cis straight man, if that's who you're in a relationship with, they're always going to choose themselves. And I don't want to speak for every man because I know every man is different and some of y'all got some hidden gems out there. But I think that in general, a lot of men put themselves first and it's kind of in their nature to do so. Whereas women, we're the caretakers. We got to take care of people and don't be heartless and you got to do. There's a lot of culture around women having to not necessarily settle, but settle because you don't want to have your standards too high and you got to be humble and you got to do this and you got to do that. Whereas men go out there and get what they want. They don't settle for anything. I think for a long time, I really grappled with the public aspect of it. From the outside looking in, a lot of people don't see like the intricacies of a couple. And I talked to someone recently and she was telling me faith comes in waves. And if you have faith in the decisions that you're making, all you need is faith the size of a mustard seed. You don't need to have all the faith in the world. You just need to have that little bit of courage to back yourself and back your decisions. And if you take that and feed into it, it'll slowly grow over time and you'll realize that you can grow the balls. You can grow the balls to make that hard decision that you're ruminating on, that you're not sure if you want to do or not. I think what we struggle with as women too when we're coming to that decision is not feeling like you're enough and feeling like what you have with this person you're never going to find with anybody else. And I think a lot of that comes from insecurities, and it does take a lot of therapy and a lot of looking introspectively to recognize where those patterns came from and where you learned that you weren't enough and where you learned that you should just settle because this person treats you right and you should just be happy with the cards that you're dealt, instead of really listening to your gut and coming to terms with the fact that, maybe we're just not compatible. Maybe we love each other, but maybe it's just more on a friend basis than in an intimate way. But a lot of the intricacies of what I'm going through, I'm kind of going to keep that to myself, at least for now, because it is very fresh, like I said. And although it is my life and I feel like I do have the right to share what I want to share and kind of share my perspective, I think there's also a line that I'm trying to balance of respecting his privacy and making sure that I'm not creating conflict where there doesn't need to be conflict, because right now everything is peaceful, girl. Like, I'm actually really proud of how we're both handling the situation, and I don't want to mess that up. I wouldn't want him to go online and say things about me that would make me uncomfortable, especially knowing that he is not a social media person and he very much he doesn't really have an online presence at all. So I'm trying to keep that balance, girl, especially because it's, we're going through all the motions and trying to get everything done. But yeah, I think that this next year, even just the end of 2024 and looking into 2025, I think there's a lot that I'm excited for. There's a lot of work that I need to do on myself, especially when you're coming out of a long-term relationship. It's so easy to forget who you are and to kind of lose yourself, because a lot of your identity gets placed on your relationship, and a lot of your day-to-day and your daily routine is determined based on the other person. What are we going to eat? That's a decision you make together. What are we going to watch? You make that decision together. What are we doing this weekend? Do we have plans? There's a lot of your life naturally that revolves around someone else, and I am very guilty of letting that consume me. I'm very guilty of not losing my identity, but just losing my sense of self, because although I do a lot on my own, like I go on the weekends and get my massages, or I'll have like a relaxing day and I'll get a facial, I'll get my nails done. Like there's a lot of things that I do on my own. I'll go get my own groceries. Like I like to do the things that I like to do. Like if I want to do something, I'm going to go do it by myself. But the part that's hard, and if you've gone through like a separation or a breakup, is when you come home and you're alone and it's late at night and you're not used to it. Nighttime is the devil. Okay. Like I don't know what it is about nighttime that makes it so difficult, but what's been helping me and what helped me last time too, to kind of deal with those emotions, is recognizing that in the morning you're going to feel completely different. It's usually just like, I like to relate it to like seasonal depression. Like people get depressed when it's like wintertime. It's the same thing at nighttime. Like something about the energy at night just shifts, and it's easier to be all fucking depre at night. But in the daytime, when you wake up, girl, sometimes you're like, glad that's over. Like I'm about to just wake up, do my routine, and everything's normal. But sometimes at night you can be in limbo. Like, what do I do? Do I just sit here and watch TV? Do I like, you have to find things to keep yourself occupied, or else you're going to just spiral. Like, what do I do? Like, I'm just sitting here sad. I'm on my phone. I'm thinking about this person. I'm thinking about how much I miss them. Like, and your brain can just start to go 100 miles per hour. So I think keeping yourself distracted is the best medicine. And I don't mean keeping yourself distracted with TikToks. Like, yeah, you can lay there and scroll, but honestly, sometimes social media will just make you even more depressed, and it'll make you spiral even further. So I recommend, if you need to kind of get through your little nighttime depression and just survive till the morning, girl, a lot of people aren't going to like this answer. Go work out. When I go work out, like if I'm feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to be so depressed tonight, girl, go to the gym and work your ass off. Because I promise, when you get back, take a shower and lay down, you're going to knock out whether you want to or not. Like something about it will just kick you down, girl. Like, and if it doesn't, pop a melatonin, get some of those Let Me Sleep gummies from the Kourtney Kardashian line. Like you will be sleep. And you will not think about anything else. Sleep can be the biggest medicine too, but use it wisely, because it's also a delicate balance, because you could be trying to just get your 8 hours and end up sleeping all day, starting to go to bed at 7. And like, it's, in theory, it sounds good, but you don't want to sleep your life away, girl. Keep yourself busy. Find hobbies that you like. If you haven't tried pottery and you've wanted to try that for so long, go do that. If you haven't gotten a massage ever, or you haven't gotten a massage in like a year, girl, a massage? A good massage can cure any depression, let me tell you, or a good facial. And if you need recommendations, check out my Instagram, especially if you're in the Valley, because I have my go-to people. 10 out of 10 recommend. Like, that's another thing, is self-care. Put time into yourself, especially if you've let yourself go. And that doesn't necessarily have to do with weight. It more so has to do with how you care for yourself. If you haven't been doing your skincare routine, or you don't even have a skincare routine, you haven't taken a bath, you haven't like bought new like scrubs for the shower, like just little things, especially as women who are feminine. If you feel like you've lost your feminine, that for me puts me in a big depression. Like if I haven't been taking care of myself, I don't feel like myself. Can literally feel the depression creeping up on me when I don't take care of myself. So remember that you can't pour from an empty cup. And if you are not feeding into yourself and prioritizing yourself and making sure that you're okay, it's going to be insanely hard to get out of a funk, especially when you feel like you don't have anything to look forward to. Like setting an appointment, even if it's a week away, 2 weeks away, like subconsciously, at least I feel like for me, it puts something in my head to look forward to. Like, what am I going to do this weekend? Oh yeah, I have a massage that I booked last month. What am I going to do next weekend? Oh, yeah, I have this event that I'm supposed to go to that I promised so and so I would go to. Like, get out, make those plans and go do them. If you need a night home to just rot and not do anything, do that. But again, go proceed with caution, because you could schedule a rotting day and just sooner or later, girl, every day is going to be a rotting day. So you got to like use those as rewards, honestly. Another thing that's really key for me is keeping a clean space. For me, if I come in and everything is filthy and everything is dirty, I hate it. It makes me angry. Like, I don't know if there's a term for that, but if I come in, the house is a mess. There's dog hair. The trash needs to be taken out. Like, I have dishes in this. Girl, I will be like the fucking Hulk. Like, I'm pissed. I'm like, I just hate everything about it. I'm like, I hate this apartment. I hate this. Like, everything about it will piss me off. And I won't recognize that it's because my space feels so chaotic. But when you come in, you got your wallflowers popped in, the floor's vacuumed because you set the Roomba. Like, if you come in, the dishes are done because you did them last night. Like, if you come in and the house is clean, for me, I feel a sense of serenity. Like, I feel like, okay, I can relax. Like, I can change, put on some comfy clothes, and I can I just want to sit, relax, and enjoy my evening.
And now I want to sit back and relax and enjoy my evening. When all of a sudden, I hear this agitating, grating voice.
And that's also part of just prepping your day, prepping what you're going to eat. Do that the day before or a couple days before, and you'll slowly start to get used to that routine. And you'll save money, girl, because when I don't prepare what I'm going to eat or I don't prepare what I'm going to buy, I just go to the store and just start buying stuff. And like, I don't prepare a list, at least like a brief like idea of what I should be getting. Girl, that pisses me off too, because I'm going to the store. I'm not trying to spend a lot of money. I end up just getting all kinds of random shit. And then I get to the checkout and I spent $200. And then I get home and I'm like, well, I still don't have anything to eat because I bought all kinds of random stuff and none of it even makes sense. Like, that will piss me off too. So I think overall, it's like, what you may not want to do today, you'll be so grateful for tomorrow and maybe the next day and maybe the next day that you sucked it up and you did it. Honestly, though, there's no like one-stop shop or one specific thing or even a routine that you can do to get yourself out of a funk. You have to do what's tailored to you, and you got to just pull yourself up by your fucking shirt collar. Like, I really like to visualize it when I'm down. I like to visualize myself like, grab me by the freaking shirt, pull me up, and tell me in my face, like, what are you doing? This is not worth it. You're wasting your life away feeling depressed over this situation that if you just push through, you will get over it. And you will move on, and the world is not ending, and you will be okay, and people love you, and you have friends, you have family. There are other more important things that require your attention right now. And if you let yourself sit and drown in this one thing, you're never going to get out of it, because I really think that it's healthy to let yourself really sit in those emotions for a day, a couple days. But if you continue to feed into that and just let yourself sit there and feel bad for yourself and feel depressed and just cry, that's different than just crying it out for a couple days, really feeling those emotions and then deciding, okay, I got to get up and get out of this. You have to just make the conscious decision. It's not going to just come to you naturally. It's not something that just the next day, okay, you know what? Now I'm over it. It takes a conscious effort to look yourself in the mirror and say, you need to snap the fuck out of it. You got to realize this is not going to last forever, and you got to just put the work in, pull yourself out of this hole, and you will feel better. Thankfully, though, right now I feel in a really good place. Last week, I think I was feeling really down, but not necessarily because of this situation. I think just in general, I couldn't even really pinpoint what it was. But I think this week I'm feeling very positive. I'm feeling very proud of myself because I know the road that I've been on for the past couple years and how difficult it's been to get to where I am right now in this exact moment. And although it's not perfect and it's not how I've pictured it maybe a few years ago, I think I'm very proud of the fact that I'm still here and I'm still standing, and I have a lot going for me. I have a good job. I have you guys, an audience that I worked really hard to create, because it took a lot of believing in myself that people even cared. And even if they didn't care, I was doing it for me. And naturally, I think that consistency and just keeping doing things that make you happy, naturally everything falls into place, because I wasn't putting out content with the specific intent to reach this type of person. I just put out content that made me happy, and I feel like naturally people that are similar to me have found it and have gravitated towards it, and I'm so appreciative. I feel like quote unquote influencers or whatever say that all the time, like, I appreciate you guys, I love you guys, blah blah blah. But really, coming from someone that had a lot of insecurities and didn't really believe in herself for a long time, I really say that with my whole chest. Like, I appreciate the fact that you guys listen, the fact that you come in with no judgment and you can hear me and you can hear my story, and you support me and you back me. And if I get one hater here and there, my girls are going to rally and they're going to get your ass. Like, you better get in line, because if not, the girlies will set you straight. And I do not take that for granted. I think that you guys have a really similar mentality to me, and it's a very safe space. And I want to do my best to keep it that way, because that's the only way that I can be vulnerable and continue these, like, what would normally be uncomfortable or awkward conversations, and I can put it out. And like, right now filming this, I feel really good. Like, I feel like I'm putting it out into a safe space, and you guys are gonna, take it in with love and support, and that feels really good. But anyways, girl, I kind of want to wrap up this episode with just a little pop culture roundup, because not even just pop culture, but just social media, like, what the fuck is going on with Clinton Kane? Okay, the girls that know. If you have no idea who that is, Clinton Kane is I was gonna say an actor. Girl, he's not. I mean, he is an actor, apparently. He's a singer. So this guy, Clinton Kane, apparently dated this girl named Brooke Schofield, which, if you don't watch the Canceled podcast with Tana Mojo and Brooke Schofield, you need to check it out. Like, I'm trying to find that community. Like, where are my girls that watch Canceled? Because it's amazing. I love those girls so much. But it's two best friends. They have a podcast and they just shoot the shit. Like, they talk about their experiences with their friends and, things that have happened to them, shitty people that they've dated. Like, so Brooke dated this guy named Clinton Kane in 2021, and he was an absolute fucking psycho, allegedly. Like, he lied about being Australian, okay? And yes, he faked an accent. He was like, nar, or nar, and it was all a lie. All of it was fake. He doesn't really have an accent. He lived in Australia for a couple years when he was younger, but he's literally not like Australian in that way, like that enough to where he would have an accent. So he lied about that. And so Brooke ended up doing this, like, I don't know, like 15, 16, 17 TikTok series of her recounting the relationship and all the toxic shit that he did, because he called her out and said that she can't stop yapping about their relationship on the podcast. And that's one thing I hate about men. How is a man gonna do you so dirty, be a literal pathological, psychotic, schizophrenic, weirdo liar, and then get mad at you for talking about it? Like, you did that to me. If you're going to be psychotic and crazy with me, you got to do it with your whole chest, and you got to be prepared for someone to out you. Like, I'm sorry. That's just, it is what it is. If you're going to be a shitty person, you got to own up to it. And you can't be mad that you treated someone like shit, and then she wanted to go around and tell people about how you treated her like shit. Like, that's just, it's not how it works. So that's the whole situation that's going on. I really recommend you guys go check it out on TikTok if you haven't, because it's crazy. Like, she did a whole series like Who the Fuck Did I Marry? Like Risa Tisa vibes, which if you didn't see Risa Tisa, that's another assignment for today. Okay, that's your homework. You got to go watch the whole Risa Tisa Who the Fuck Did I Marry series on TikTok, because talk about psychotic men. And that's one thing I'm grateful for. Like, listen, my relationship didn't work out and it's unfortunate, yes, but thank God I didn't have a situation like that. Like a pathological liar, lied about everything, gaslighting, just toxic craziness. Like, I'm glad my situation is a little boring. It's as simple as we grew apart and that's it. We wish each other the best and we're on good terms. Like, very much boring compared to these situations that I'm hearing about on TikTok. Like, girl, it's insane. That is homework number 1. Homework number 2, Love Island USA. I'm spoiler alert. Okay. If you don't want to hear spoilers about Love Island USA, thank you so much for watching, girl. I love you. Please click out because we're going to get into it. If you're not caught up as of, what day is it today? As of Wednesday, the 17th. Girl, this whole Casa debacle on Love Island USA was insane. But I think what's been more insane is the aftermath, especially what I'm seeing online. Okay, let's start with Serena and Cordell. Serena treated Cordell like absolute garbage the whole first, 6 weeks. She didn't want him. She friend zoned him. In my opinion, I think initially she stayed with him for longer than she wanted to because she didn't have any other options and she wanted to stay in the villa. Like, it is what it is. And if you don't believe me, girl, rewatch it because I promise you that's exactly what it was. And then, she got used to him and she started to catch feelings for him. Then he went to Casa. He came back from Casa having made a connection, kissed this girl, had a genuine connection with her. She went in and straight wanted him. Like, she didn't want anybody else. She was like, my man from the get-go. So he invests some time into her. They have a connection and he brings her back to the villa from Casa. Serena now wants to act like, how could you do this to me? Like, how dare you? Extra and pissed. Like, Serena was pissed the house down. I don't get that. And I think that the way she treated Cordell when she was mad, so disrespectful and so nasty, especially when you put into perspective, none of these people are in relationships. Like, no one was boyfriend, girlfriend when all of this went down. And I get you look stupid, but I think that people let their egos get in the way of a lot. Like, when you have a hurt ego, you can turn into a whole different beast. Like, I get it because I'm a Scorpio and we're very prideful, girl. If you didn't know, we're very prideful and we have the biggest ego. But I think also you have to be self-aware enough to recognize when you're a little wrong. You could be mad and you could realize, like, okay, I shouldn't be that mad about this, but I am. Instead of just reacting with, no, bitch, I'm mad, so it's fuck you, and I'm gonna act how I want to act and act out and act crazy and be disrespectful and be insane just because I'm mad. You could go that route, or you can evolve a little bit and say, like, I'm mad when I shouldn't be this mad, and that's on me. Like, I have to work on this internally and I gotta be mad, but it's in my head and I gotta deal with it myself. Like, they didn't necessarily do anything to make me this mad, but regardless, I am, so I gotta deal with it. I think that she felt really embarrassed that he came back with another girl and he was chasing her for so long. I don't think that she thought he would do that. I think she had him on lock and he was locked down and he wasn't going to do anything. So when he did, girl, she was pissed. And I just didn't really agree with how she went about communicating her anger and how she felt, especially because she got back with him. Girl, now you're going to do all that and then get back with him. Like, what is going on? And Cordell, honestly, for him to allow all of that and get with her, like, he needs to strap in, because I don't really know her sign, but if she's, girl, not someone comment on my Instagram talking about no one cares. Clearly you do, Miss Nelly Chanel, because why are you commenting on my stuff? But anyways, you guys, that is my opinion on Serena and Cordell. It's, sorry, I'm looking at Nelly's Instagram. Let's see. A Nelly Chanel McKinney. It's always a white girl with the last name McKinney. But anyways, she says, juicy since 86. Okay. Not you're almost 10 years older than me, and you're commenting no one cares on my Instagram. Girl, get the fuck out of here. She might be fake because she has 18 followers, but she's a boy mom, okay, with a lollipop emoji. She's a savage with a pink bow emoji. I'm going to screenshot this and put it on the video version. So if you're watching the video version, you can look at what I'm talking about. She's Brooklyn made. Okay, so she's a New York girly. She's a savage. She likes shopping, beer, tacos, and she's single. So if anyone wants a pick me that likes shopping, beer, and tacos, and the Yankees, drink up. CEO of McKinney Realty, and she likes Tupac, apparently, because she has Tupac in her bio. That is the randomest, chuggiest, most ridiculous bio I've ever read in my life. And you know what, Nelly? You asked for it. Don't come commenting on my Instagram if you don't want to be exposed on the podcast. But anyways, you guys, aside from what are their names? Aside from Serena and Cordell, I don't really care for Leah and Miguel. Leah is like the icon of TikTok right now, and I'm indifferent to her. I do think a lot of the stuff she says is funny, but I just don't really agree with a lot of it. I really like the way that Janae has handled herself. Like Janae, for me, Janae and Kenny for president. Okay, I'm obsessed with them. I vote for them every time. I have the Love Island USA app, and every time it's time to vote, I vote for Janae and Kenny. They are so cute. They're so genuine. I feel like Janae went through a lot of struggles throughout her time in Love Island with not feeling like she was enough. And that for me, so relatable. Like she goes in feeling like I'm this bad bitch, like I'm a baddie, because she absolutely is. But it seemed like she placed a lot of her worth based off of what the men thought of her. If men came in and liked her, she was so happy and excited. If they liked her a little bit and then ended up being like, oh, this connection's not going to work out, and moved on to someone else, she took it so personally. And I get that. Like, Janae, I feel you, girl. It's so hard to not take that personally and to not have it be a direct reflection on you and your worth when someone either shows interest in you and then loses it and dips out, or just doesn't reciprocate those feelings at all. But what I've learned from Janae and her whole journey is like, you could be the baddest bitch, and if a guy does not like you, you might still take that to heart when you shouldn't. Like, I look at her and I'm like, girl, you do not want that man, and who cares if he doesn't want you? Like, you can do a lot better. You got to just wait for your prince to come in. And she did. She was so upset over these different guys and how they weren't working out. And then Kenny comes in, perfect for her. He did go to Casa and explore a couple connections, but at the same time, he had only been coupled up with her for 2 days. I really think if they had weeks together, like now I see Jenny, that's their couple name, Jenny. Okay, Kenny and Janae. Now I see Jenny, and I'm like, they would never do that to each other. Now, like looking at where they're at right now, I'm rooting for them 1000%. They are my Love Island couple. As far as today, June 17th, or June, girl, what month is it? July 17th, because I just love them and I think they're so cute. But anyways, you guys, I think I'm going to wrap up the episode because your girl has been rambling, and I didn't have like a direct topic for this week because I just wanted to talk about what was on my mind. What's heavy on my chest this week, because that's good for my soul. That is the only way I'm getting through life right now, is just yapping. But thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for being patient. I'm so sorry there wasn't an episode last week, but we're going to get back on it, girl. Don't forget to give the podcast a 5-star review, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you want to watch the video version, it's up on Spotify because I'm a Spotify girly. So you know I got to put the video version up there. Or you can just check it out on my YouTube channel. Give this video a big thumbs up. Leave me comments with what you guys want me to talk about in future episodes, because sometimes I have a lot and it's hard for me to narrow down what I want to talk about. So if you guys need advice or you have a situation that you have going on, you can always message me. I'll keep it anonymous. But anyways, girl, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, girl.
This is what's up.